He's a brilliant plastic surgeon with a flawless record, but behind that perfect smile hides an obsession darker than anyone imagines. When his wife betrays him, his carefully crafted world collapses into madness, and soon, no one around him is safe. This is the chilling story of Doctor, where perfection comes with a deadly price. Let's begin. The story begins with a skilled surgeon in BA getting ready for work. His young, elegant wife, Soon-jung, helps him prepare for the day. When he compliments her beauty, she laughs softly, but instead of smiling back, he frowns. He tells her not to laugh when he speaks, saying it feels like she's mocking him. His tone sharpens, and she quickly apologizes, afraid of upsetting him further. Still frustrated, he scolds her again, saying the tie she picked looks cheap. His irritation grows, revealing a man who easily loses control of his emotions. A moment later, he forces a calm smile, apologizes for his outburst, and says he'll be home late because of his patients. To anyone watching, they seem like a normal couple. But behind her gentle smile, his wife feels only disgust and resentment. As soon as he leaves, her expression changes completely. She mutters that he's a psycho and says living with him feels suffocating. She changes into a more revealing outfit and secretly calls her lover to come over. Minutes later, a younger man arrives, completely unaware that danger might be closer than he thinks. At home, she welcomes him warmly. They talk and flirt, lost in their moment, not knowing that the surgeon has quietly returned and is watching from the shadows. His eyes burn with disbelief and anger as he realizes what's happening. Just as he's about to burst into the room, the doorbell rings unexpectedly. Panicking, Soon-jung quickly tells her lover to hide, while In-beom slips out through the back door. At the door stands her mother, who enters with a spare passcode when no one answers, and catches sight of a man sneaking out. Shocked, she confronts her daughter, but instead of denying it, Soon-jung coldly tells her mother to stay out of it. "You can't tell anyone I'm cheating on my husband," she says without emotion. Her mother scolds her, saying she chose this life and must live with the consequences. The daughter snaps back, saying her husband is mentally unstable. He even controls how she dresses and styles her hair every day. Her mother urges her to endure it for a few more years, get a divorce later, and ask for support. But Soon-jung scoffs at her, saying that she already benefited and received a house, a car, a comfortable life. Then she adds bitterly, "If you think it's so easy, you try living with him." Meanwhile, Soon-jung's lover drives off quietly. Unknown to him, In-beom is following close behind. They both arrive at a quiet private car park. When he sees the man waiting for the elevator, In-beom's anger grows stronger. He grabs a hammer and hurriedly enters the elevator before the door closes. But when the moment comes, he freezes. He wants to confront him, yet his hands tremble. Then he notices something, a lipstick mark on the man's neck. That single detail pushes him over the edge, and he raises the hammer. But before he can act, the elevator reaches the 9th floor, and the man steps out unharmed. In-beom hesitates, trying to follow him, but a receptionist stops him at the gym entrance. She politely asks him to register as a new member. Confused, he quickly asks about the man who just entered. The receptionist smiles and says, "Oh, that's Coach Kim, he works here." Hearing that name, In-beom's face stiffens. He accidentally drops the hammer, quickly picks it up, and walks away awkwardly. He returns to his clinic, his mind clouded with jealousy and anger. Back at work, he's greeted by his head nurse, who reminds him of a scheduled eyelid surgery. Trying to appear calm, he says, "Let's begin the operation." But during the surgery, his hands start to shake uncontrollably. The nurse notices and gently suggests taking a short break. Instead, he snaps at her, insisting he has never made a single mistake in his career. He demands they continue. As he looks down at the patient, his mind drifts. He suddenly imagines his wife's face, mocking him. His frustration surges, and in that moment, he loses control. The nurses rush in, pulling him away before anyone gets seriously hurt. The patient, terrified and confused, runs out to the reception and tells her boyfriend what happened. Her boyfriend storms into the clinic, furious. There's chaos. The nurses hold him back while the doctor, shaken, falls to the floor. The couple storms out, shouting that the doctor has gone mad. Other patients, frightened by the scene, quickly leave as well. Later, in his office, In-beom tries to calm himself. He quietly injects a sedative, his hands still trembling. The head nurse wants to check on him, but the others stop her, afraid of how he might react. Just as she's about to open the door, it swings wide. The doctor walks out as if nothing happened, composed, smiling, even asking casually about the next appointment. The nurses watch in silence, unsettled by how calm he appears after everything that just happened. Across town, at the gym, Coach Kim is flirting with another female member when a staff member approaches him. "Someone's here to see you," she says. At the stairway stands Soon-jung's mother. Without warning, she slaps him across the face. "Stop destroying my daughter's marriage," she says coldly. If you keep seeing her, you'll regret it. But as she turns to leave, Coach Kim smirks. You sold your daughter for money, he says under his breath. Now you want to act like her mother? Upstairs, the surgeon is watching everything unfold, his expression dark and unreadable. Back at home, Soon Jung's mother can't stop complaining. She mutters that her daughter is going to ruin her own life, when suddenly the doorbell rings. She opens the door and freezes. Standing there, calm and polite, is her son-in-law, In Biom. Surprised, she asks, "Why are you here so suddenly?" He smiles warmly and says he just wanted to visit. "You raised my beautiful wife," he adds. "I should care for you more." Still puzzled, she invites him in. Over tea, she nervously asks if something happened between him and her daughter. He shakes his head. "Nothing at all," he says softly. "I actually wanted to give you a small gift." She remembers visiting their home earlier, bringing him homemade side dishes. He nods and says, "Exactly why I wanted to return the favor. I heard from Soon Jung that you've been thinking about looking younger." Then he opens his medical kit and shows her a small vial. "Just a simple beauty treatment," he says gently. "It'll only take a second." She lies down while he prepares for the treatment, but his tone suddenly changes. The warmth in his eyes vanishes. "You and your daughter," he says coldly. "You're both the same," before injecting the substance into her eye. The scene fades out as she gasps, followed by silence. The next moment, he's already walking away, calm and expressionless, as if nothing happened. Later that evening, he returns home. His wife greets him sweetly, pretending nothing is wrong. He hands her a wrapped package and tells her he brought something special for dinner. She's surprised. He never eats meat. "It's a rare cut," he says with a smile. "You'll love it. Let's have it with wine." She grills the meat, laughing that it tastes different from anything she's ever had. He tells her to enjoy it, insisting she finishes everything while he watches silently. When she's done, he chuckles darkly. "Did you really think that was just beef?" he asks. His words make her freeze. Her smile fades as confusion turns to fear. He leans closer. "You just ate your mom. Maybe now you'll learn not to betray me. Not in my house." His wife, trembling, hurriedly heads to the sink to vomit everything out. The next thing we see, he grabs the wine bottle, smashing it on her. He whispers, "You should have been obedient. We didn't have to end up like this." Then, he coldly drags her to the storage room and ties her up. The next morning at the clinic, the head nurse looks worried. She tells the assistants to cancel all surgeries for the day, saying the doctor should rest after yesterday's strange incident. But moments later, the surgeon walks in, smiling brightly, as if nothing ever happened. "Good morning, everyone," he says cheerfully. "Let's work harder today to make up for yesterday, okay?" The nurses exchange uneasy glances. The head nurse tries to reason with him, but he waves her off. "You're overreacting," he says lightly. As soon as he walks into his office, the head nurse whispers to the others, "Something's wrong with him. I think he's losing it." But she sighs and tells everyone to carry on like usual. Not long after, a middle-aged woman storms out of the treatment room, furious. "That doctor's insane," she yells, before rushing out of the clinic. The nurses try to stop her, but she's already gone. The staff stare at each other in confusion. What on earth is happening with their boss? One of the assistants hesitantly knocks on his office door. "Doctor, what happened with the patient earlier?" The surgeon looks up calmly and says, "She came in after getting cheap treatments elsewhere. I told her she was ugly." The nurse is horrified by his tone, but before she can say anything, he coldly replies, "Bring in the next patient." Across town, at the gym, Coach Kim is trying to call Soon Jung again. She doesn't answer. He waits near her house for a while, then returns to work. At the front desk, the receptionist lowers her voice and says, "By the way, a strange man came by yesterday asking for you. He had a hammer in his hand." Coach Kim freezes. She continues, "He was the one who took the same elevator as you." Realizing who it might be, he grows uneasy. He tries calling Soon Jung once more to confirm, but the phone keeps ringing with no answer. Back at the clinic, another patient walks into the doctor's room, a young, beautiful woman. She smiles shyly and says she wants cosmetic enhancement surgery. The doctor looks at her with unsettling calmness and says, "I've prepared something very special just for you." But as the nurse outside checks the schedule, something feels off. There's no surgery listed for today. She quickly calls the head nurse, her voice trembling. "The doctor just started a new procedure," she says, "but there's no appointment on the system. He told me to cancel everything else." The head nurse's expression changes instantly. Something isn't right, and this time, it might already be too late. The head nurse rushes into the operating theater, only to freeze in shock. The doctor is standing over the patient, calmly marking lines all over her body, mumbling about the perfect changes he plans to make. "What are you doing?" she yells. "You can't start without anesthesia. I'm the anesthetist." He doesn't even look up. "Don't interfere," he says quietly. Realizing how far he's gone, the nurse calls him a lunatic and storms out. She starts packing her things, trembling as she calls a friend. "Find me another job," she whispers. The doctor here, he's completely lost it. Before she can finish her sentence, the door opens behind her. The doctor knocks her out, and the phone drops from her hand. Inside the operating room, he continues the procedure as if nothing happened. The camera lingers on the dimly lit room, the sound of his tools echoing in the silence. Suddenly the patient stirs. The assistant nurse panics. "Doctor, she's awake. We need to stop." But he glares at her. "Don't question me. Follow my instructions." The nurse hesitates, watching the patient grow weaker. Finally, she refuses to stop assisting the surgery and tries to leave, only for him to kill her too. Moments later, the last remaining nurse enters the operating theater as she heard strange sounds coming from inside. The doctor appears in front of her, calm as ever. "Don't interrupt me," he says coldly. "The surgery isn't over yet." Meanwhile, at the gym, Coach Kim finally tracks down which clinic Soon-jung's husband works at. The receptionist confirms the doctor is performing surgery at this very moment. That makes Kim uneasy. If the doctor's at work, then why isn't Soon-jung answering her phone? He rushes to her house and knocks repeatedly. No answer. He calls her again and again, but the phone remains silent. Desperate, he breaks in. Back at the clinic, the situation takes an even darker turn. The patient's heart monitor begins to flatline. The doctor stares blankly, muttering that she is not the chosen one, and then simply covers her up and turns away. Later, the last nurse prepares a drink, planning to check on him, but when she opens the office door, she freezes. The room is filled with a scene too horrifying to describe. Before she can run, the doctor starts hallucinating and mistakes her for his wife. His face twists with anger. "Why do you keep mocking me?" he shouts, moving toward her. She screams and dashes into a storage room, locking the door. He pounds on it relentlessly. In panic, she grabs a fire extinguisher. When he finally breaks in, she extinguishes it all over his face and swings it with all her strength and bolts down the hallway. Sirens begin to echo in the distance as the chaos unfolds. Back at Soon-jung's house, Coach Kim slowly steps inside. The place is a mess, furniture overturned, the floor smeared with bloodstains. His heartbeat quickens as he follows the trail down to the basement. There, in the dim light, he finds her. Soon-jung is tied to a chair, weak but still breathing. He rushes to untie her, whispering, "It's okay, you're safe now." Meanwhile at the clinic, the surviving nurse manages to call the police. Sirens wail outside as officers rush in and secure the scene. Another team is sent to the surgeon's home, unaware that someone else is already watching from the shadows. It's in Beom, silently observing every move. Soon-jung is taken to the hospital. Hours later, she stirs awake, trembling and disoriented. Coach Kim sits beside her, holding her hand, telling her it's over, that the nightmare has ended, but the truth hits her harder than any wound. Her mother is gone. Overwhelmed with guilt, she breaks down, crying that it was all her fault, that her vanity and obsession with perfection led her into this nightmare. At the police station, detectives piece together the shocking truth. The doctor had been operating on Soon-jung for over a year and a half, 13 surgeries in total. He didn't just change her appearance, he was remaking her into someone else entirely. They uncover an old photograph in his office, a woman from 30 years ago, smiling, elegant and eerily identical to Soon-jung's new face. It becomes clear the doctor had been trying to recreate this woman, someone from his past whom he could never forget. Back at the hospital, Coach Kim steps out for a moment, heading to the restroom to wash his face. That's when a figure quietly slips into Soon-jung's room. It's In Beom. He approaches her bed and injects a mysterious substance into her IV. Her eyes widen, she gasps but cannot speak. Within seconds, her body stiffens. Moments later, Coach Kim returns and notices Soon-jung acting weirdly. Before he can react, In Beom turns, expression blank, and injects him as well. The syringe drops to the floor as Coach Kim collapses beside her. In the hospital room, the doctor stands over Soon-jung, his voice calm, almost gentle. "There's no reason for me to kill you, since I was the one who created you," he says softly. Then, with a chilling smile, he continues, "The woman I killed was my first love. I loved her for 10 years, but when I finally confessed, she laughed. She said I wasn't good enough, so I made sure she could never laugh at me again." Soon-jung trembles, realizing she's face to face with a man who has completely lost his mind, and he disfigures her before leaving. His obsession with beauty and rejection has twisted into something far darker. Then he disappears into the night. A man arrives at a private clinic, his entire face bandaged. As the doctor unwraps his face is different, handsome and much younger. But behind those calm eyes hides the same monster. A flashback shows how he shattered his own face, stole another man's identity, and went through a facial reconstruction surgery to turn into someone new. As he runs his fingers across his new face, he murmurs to the doctor, "Everything is perfect, except I miss my old name." Sadly, justice was never served, only reflected back through the face of the man who escaped it.